Even open. Unless that was you putting it down.
All the, I mean, so my thing with like the cans and opening that, I hear that in, like a lot of podcasts like this. So
Yeah, that's just normal.
I don't think it's a huge detriment. Or like
No.
the last one that I was listening to earlier today, I even heard people like sparking lighters and shit. So
Yeah, my buddy's podcast. He
The thing is, though, we aren't everyone else. We're perfect.
we are. No, my buddy's podcast. His is stoner review. So he just talks about just like weed talks, dreams, so on and so forth, kind of like that.
Personality quizzes.
Blake.
Is it?
I mean, I don't have the Wi-Fi access and shit here.
Oh shit!
you ain't got service down here?
Yeah, a little bit, but
Damn.
Hurry up!
Yeah, without the Wi-Fi, you're gonna be
struggling.
out of luck.
Just guess it.
So anyway, I'm Blake.
My name's Jarvis.
I'm Greg.
Puts down
And with our
cigar.
special guest here with the luxurious golden windpipes.
Oh yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm Will.
Mr. Will is in the house.
Yeah.
First time appearance on the Foxhole. This is episode at least 4 or 10.
I think it's like
A
6 or 7.
It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Still gotta post the last one, but
Yeah.
normally I post the episodes whenever I'm like doing schoolwork, and we had Christmas break, so I didn't
You
have
weren't
my
getting
tablet.
ahead over Christmas break?
I wasn't what?
You weren't getting ahead over break?
Why would I do that?
Well, I'm like 3 weeks ahead right now. Fucking get
Oh,
good.
wow.
I have work due today that I haven't even
He
done.
said you lesser.
Oh
human
shit!
being.
Yeah, I have to do that. With
Procrastination
I have to
Yeah.
discussion
is the
questions
way.
I do today.
That's the death of us all.
I feel like
What are y'all toking on over?
Blacks.
German-
Like a cigarello style.
I would.
Yeah, we ain't
I will
racist.
partake in the cancer today.
I feel like having Will on this is gonna boost our ratings because they're gonna
Man.
hear that buttery
They were like,
voice.
"That's a man's voice
That's a
right
man."
there.
They're like, "Hey, bring
That is
him
a
back."
man. Who is that man?
You're like we're not racist, and they're like, well, you're talking to a 6'7", 400-pound black man right now. Nobody knows I'm only now 6'1.5" after my surgery and
And white.
only 250 pounds in white.
All right. So we'll transition to some future topics because
Hey,
I
bro, let me
can
get
see
a
we're
light.
only going to talk so much about this, but I want to start it out with personality types. We, for those of us who participated,
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
took
I just
place-
got the invite, and then now I can't get on it because of Wi-Fi.
it's all right. Well, you can still discuss. So the Myers-Briggs personality test is what we took. There's 4
So,
types of specific like
personality traits.
and there's like, well, there's 8.
yeah,
and
then there's that little extra one at the end.
Whether or
too.
not you're assertive or not.
Yeah.
But basically, it boils down to 16 different types, and then even after that, there's technically 2 versions of those 16. Whether or not you're assertive, or what's the other one?
Assertive or turbulent.
Or turbulent.
Which I really don't know what that's supposed to mean.
It's like on the
Turbulent.
plane, the turbulence.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, in the context of
whenever you go to
personality,
make a
like,
decision, you just start violently.
No, so okay.
please fasten your seatbelts.
Sounds
So
like every
who's
woman
got
I've
it?
ever dated.
All right. So for the first one, it is either introverted or extroverted, which is self-explanatory. The next one is your energy, whether or not you are intuitive or observant. So basically, whether or not you think based off of like what you're seeing, or if you pre-plan your decisions. So observant would probably be more reactive-based thinking.
So you just kill them
I feel
like out of
observance,
rage, or if you
observance
think
is
out?
like paying attention, and then I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
didn't really read
Nature.
the descriptions.
It's either thinking or feeling. That one is basically, do you act on your feelings or your thoughts?
Yeah.
That's the pre-planned decisions, or if you act on emotion. Tactics, so judging or prospecting.
86.
Judging is basically, right there in the word. You judge people. Prospecting, you can look past
You
what
take
you
a
see.
you take a pickaxe and you go into a cave and you're
I'm the
prospecting.
prospector.
Yeah.
And then assertive or turbulent. All right, so
Whether you make people
Well, I'm
violently shake
assertive.
or you
We've
violently
determined
shake.
this.
all right, what did you get, Greg? INFJ A.
Hey.
So
Oh, wow.
advocate. I'm pretty sure that is
Let's see what it says.
little
you know,
less than common.
I know a lot of INTJs, and they're a lot of nerds.
And whenever you're gonna have to let me take this personality quiz on your phone.
You
So you can
yeah.
you can take it You just
It
got to
takes,
bring it back
like
to the
5
beginning.
minutes, and that's something I want to touch on after we kind of go through this.
I had taken this test probably 5 times throughout my life over the course of maybe 8 years, and I got the same thing every single time. And I would take it again, answering just a little bit differently, and get the same thing, just like, all right, making
so
sure it's accurate.
Whenever I get to take this test, seeing that y'all have already done it and you have your answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of you know me very well, 1 fairly well. You know about me.
Yeah, right. I've known you for
plenty of times.
probably about a year or so now.
All right.
I mean, but like, I've bled with these men. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah, but
I brought them from the ground up.
Let's see if y'all can just kind of like after we're done discussing y'all's personality type, see if you can
Guess yours?
Yes.
All right.
Go
So, yeah, mine, I got the same thing every single time up until recently. I just took it again and I got something different this time. So my personality has finally changed.
So the most recent one, you got a
So
different.
you're
Yeah.
a psychopath.
Interesting.
And I took it again and it was still that same new one.
Because only
And I-
psychopaths stay the same continuously.
No, I finally changed.
He finally
And I think a
I'm a
big factor
changed
in my
man.
change is getting out of the military allowed me to be more of who I am.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and so
for sure.
huge change of pace in my life. And I was like, find who I am and then express that. And then also kids will really change who you are.
Absolutely.
And because I mean, I had kids before, but outside the military, I'm actually there
Yeah, you
parenting
get to
them.
be a dad.
Whereas
Yeah.
before I wasn't.
That's one reason I can't wait to actually get back home.
You were like a,
So I can actually. I'm supposed to be getting custody of my 2 oldest children.
which is dope.
Yes.
That's
super
Congratulations.
'Cause
Yeah.
I appreciate all y'all. 'Cause as you 2 know, like I've been through the ringer
Whoop.
with the military and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
You just
and
been
trying to-
dragged through. You were tied to a truck and dragged across the
Bruh.
street.
They showed you that weenie.
Mm. Oh, they.
Bah!
Yeah, it was like the size of my arm.
For those listening, his arm is fucking huge.
Even if it was a small arm, that's still a large
Still a
cock.
big.
if you are not too young and you remember the Ludacris videos, get back.
Pause. If anybody is young, like young, and listening to this, get the fuck out of here. This is not for you.
That's No,
It's also not for the elderly. Because I might say some things that give them a little heart attack.
I just told my mom I had a podcast, so
Oh god.
but I didn't tell her what the name was. She didn't ask, so I was like,
Ah.
I'm
I
probably
can
gonna
ask
listen
because
to
she already knew.
I need to
Right.
drop the link to my dad.
Wait, it's you and
Five.
other army
Mm-hmm.
people?
You
No,
cuss,
good.
Greg?
Oh fuck! Shit! Fuck! God!
Hey, did you show your mom the picture of that I drew you?
Yeah, she's on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the personality I had been my whole life was campaigner. And it was
Just dividing.
ENFP.
ENFP.
Barely E as well, a little more introverted. But it's like slowly has been getting more extroverted as I get older. And then, so campaigner is basically someone who doesn't care about anybody else other than just like they want to live their best life. What's military is a horrible place for people who are campaigner.
Right. It's almost like
A regimented lifestyle is a shitty place for them.
They want to live a creative life.
Yes.
Not necessarily just caring about themselves, but
Yeah. You
wanting
don't
to
want to be hand-railed
to
your
pursue.
entire
Yeah.
life.
My new
They're not
personality
worker bees.
was commander.
Oh, let's just feed that ego.
Yeah, and it makes sense because on the personality website, you know, obviously it's a website, but it does an accurate job after reading your answers to the questions and sort of getting a feel for who you are. But
is it
so to show your
multiple
strengths and
choice,
weaknesses,
or-
Oh, it's long. It's not short, but it's not long. It's like
it's enough to get an
5
in-depth
minutes.
view of who you are.
Okay.
yeah.
We'll talk,
The,
we'll
You
talk
pulling
about
it up?
how in depth.
Oh, you want to do it? Hold
Yeah,
on.
let me do it.
obviously you can be a certain personality type and not fit into that personality type's like general way of
Yeah.
thinking.
Well, I mean, I'm saving this topic for later. Let's just get through the types right now.
The weaknesses and strengths, I like looking at it in that aspect. Just see, all right, what are my weaknesses? Obviously, they might not always be right, but
Right.
getting a view of what your weaknesses might be, because it's hard to look at
What's-
like the bad parts of yourself, because everybody has a heightened version of themselves in their head. I know I do. I think I'm the best, and then I like read my weaknesses, and it's like, all right, now I can fix that and actually be the best.
I want to be.
But
the
yeah,
very
so
best.
and I can see the weaknesses for Commander, how
Mhm.
I can see how that's more me now too. I
What,
think
arrogant.
yeah, arrogant, impatient.
Every time I think of a commander, I just call
Arrogant.
you arrogant boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It sucks
Said that
because
backwards.
I've
Very
improved in
college
some
boy. There we
places,
go.
but definitely went down a little bit in other places. I think just, I don't know, I have zero patience anymore. I guess...
Good thing you're not a doctor, because you'd be out of business.
Yeah. My poor kids.
My poor kid.
So, so I've taken a similar test before. I took the Jung, or Jung, like Young or Jung. I'm not
It's
sure.
Young, probably based off of Carl Jung.
Yes, yeah, that's
yeah.
what it was. So I took that when I was about 17, and I remember I got ENTJ.
Mhm.
And then when I took it, I took the Myers-Briggs with you when we were in Afghanistan, and that was
ENTJ is commander.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I used to be.
That's what I am now.
So it's funny because we flip-flop. We met in the middle though.
And now I'm
which is-
ENFP. Or I was ENFP,
You were,
now I'm
because
ENTJ.
when we all took that in Afghanistan and we spent a whole week geeking out about personality types, you, me, and Judy all got ENFP, and now when I took it recently again, I'm still ENFP. So as I became older, I started using my feelings more, I guess, which is true, and I've noticed
Not
that.
me.
I'm not because when I was fucking 17, I was a cold-hearted son of a bitch,
Ain't nothing wrong with
just
that.
a huge asshole.
I think we all go through that phase.
Yeah.
especially
17 was probably my favorite year. Like,
I'm locked into my personality right
2017 or
now.
the
you
age
know.
of
my
17,
age, like
yeah.
being 17 years old, like you don't have the responsibilities of being an adult,
Hell no.
but
It's-
you have
yeah.
the ability to do adult things, like if you want to. Obviously, you may
Yeah.
not legally be able to, but you still do. Being in sniper section at 17, which obviously we know that
It's a big deal.
it's that it's not a big deal. Outside the military, though, you think it's like the coolest thing in the entire world. Like growing up as a young boy, like the idea of a sniper, that was literally a dream goal, and
After you get
I
in the army, everything
became a sniper, and I'm like, this is sniper, this is it.
This is me
But
laying in a
that did
spot.
not stop me, 17-year-old me, just telling everyone. Yeah, I'm a sniper. You're a sniper? Yeah, me.
I know on our last podcast I talked about how I was like really elitist with my movie views when I was in high school. I was really just elitist about everything and thought I was the hottest shit.
Fucking, you're probably a Star Wars purist too, huh?
Yeah. I can see him and Buckley get
I'm-
along real well.
I'm an anime purist.
I'm so about purist. As I got older, I mellowed out more and kind of was humbled and shit like that. And
Somebody came and kicked your ass, didn't they?
Honestly,
That's usually what happens.
I just
it's
realized
so
how
good
much
for
of an
you.
asshole I was because I started seeing like how I just started losing friends. And I realized that I was a huge piece of shit. And like my relationship.
They weren't your real friends.
I mean, me and Card never
I was-
really talked until they had us do combatives one
Same
morning.
thing.
And then
It's fun.
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
I'm surprised he even
That's
said he was
hilarious.
like,
made me want to kill
I like
you.
to talk to people who could actually have a
Made me try not
genuine
to laugh.
Yeah,
conversation.
I was laughing the whole
You're
time.
laughing, and I'm
So
like,
holding
you're lucky I
conversations
don't
with
have
this
a
man, I'm like,
fucking
man, this
shiv
dude's
on me.
smart.
I may not be able to beat your ass, but doesn't mean I can't kill you with the right
Yeah,
tools.
'cause I've never had anybody try to stab me before I joined the army.
Hey,
You're like, here, just hold this grenade. I'm gonna pull this pin out.
I'm
real
not
quick."
anybody.
I've heard
I'm
that
me.
before.
I'm me.
I do think
He said I'm the best.
Sure, you have heard that before.
for a
Maybe
s-
But have you seen someone with balls the size of mine?
you should probably get that checked
Muy
out.
pequeño.
Bikini.
I was taken back. I was like, I haven't seen your balls.
What are you saying?
Oh,
What?
What?
A friend who hasn't seen my
Let
balls?
me show you. I think you're one of the very few dudes that I haven't seen completely buck ass.
Oh
naked.
man,
That's
yeah,
too bad.
Served
I've
with.
seen this man's whole cock on accident.
You see how he says it though?
His whole,
His
He
whole
didn't, say, he didn't say
Oh.
pee-pee, he said whole cock.
the pork and the beans.
I saw the pork and the beans.
It's because he served for me. All of my soldiers,
because
it was
he served-
initiation phase. They had to count the hairs on my dick.
Watch your NCO change. Now assist him with your teeth.
Teeth.
In the middle of Farah when everything's just hot and sweaty and ugh.
Hot.
Oh, yeah,
man.
y'all got out there when it was cold, right?
They got out there. They had showers.
It was both. It was hot.
Y'all had showers?
Ye-
Oh, well,
water.
yeah, we did.
Water was
Oh,
still
yeah.
water
back
was
in.
still cold
Yeah.
though.
At the back end of it.
I honestly only showered 3 times, like the 2 months I was out there, because the water was
Hey,
cold
man.
and it was
Some-
cold
some
outside.
little
I was like,
necessities
nah,
in
I ain't
life.
fucking with it.
Little things in
So
life.
one of the things I wanted to sort of roll into coming from personality types, because it's such a big topic, a big deal nowadays is it encompasses most of politics is equality. Y'all's views on basically not just generally equality,
So
but also like
violence today.
equality of outcome. Like,
It's
where
not my fault I'm violent. I'm
should
an
things
asparagus.
be equal? Like, what do y'all think?
Should things
People aren't the same, whether or not, everybody tries to make you believe that on
there's
media.
plenty of things that
Everyone's the exact
separate us.
same. Women, men, different races. I think
it-
everyone is very different in unique, good ways. It's not
Yeah.
cool
the
to be the same.
biology of every individual human and mentality. Some may, have a lot of, things in common, but we're all different individuals. Like, this is my black twin, but he's my black twin. You know what
See,
I'm
think
saying?
about your body, right? Your hand and your foot are very different,
Mhm.
but serve very important purposes. You don't want to not have your feet
I think I know
just
where
because they're
this conversation's
different from your hands.
So
But you don't
Who
want
are
to
you
do
standing on
hands
top of,
things
Gordon?
with your feet.
I don't know. There is
I can
seen
do
some
some-
interesting videos.
Oh, what are you doing, step
What
foot?
are you watching?
I don't know. We ain't gonna
Well,
get it
there's
out
a
yet.
reason they call me the Flood. So.
how bizarre.
There's if I had to say like, because I thought about this a little bit more, but not even like as a racial thing, biological thing, just in the way of individuals
Individual
want
people.
to live their life.
Right.
So when I think of like equality in the sense of being able to people, for the most part, I could say not everybody wants to be a millionaire. Not everybody wants to be famous.
Not everyone wants the same things.
No, so,
Like, I don't want to be a millionaire.
But
just
I
wanna live
can-
a
but
comfortable
I
life
can-
and take care of my kids.
but I think I can genuinely say, confidently, at least for me, I can confidently say that I think, for the most part, people would love to make enough money to sustain themselves and do the things they still love. Not being able, like, we've had this conversation a lot, all the time, is like trading my time for money. Not in the sense of like actual money, but like I'm literally giving up literally a third of my day to work for money, and I feel like I'm not making enough. And everyone's like, "Oh, you can get a better job." Like that's
I
understandable.
actually have a big theory on why everyone. It seems as if you always can only, except for very few, make just the amount of money you need to spend. I think
It's funny how that works out sometimes,
it was
yeah.
designed that way. You can see how far we've come from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, technologically. We could easily have systems in place to where people worked 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and have all the things we need. But the way that our economy works with our monetary systems in place,
They've been saying for years that a 4-day work week is possible.
Even a 3-day work week.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
two day,
and would
easily.
be, and would be
Guaranteed.
far more efficient, and it would bring up like happiness.
That's
of the,
like
of
they
the
even
country.
did a case study in the sense where they had people like, "Hey, we're going to give you 3-day weekends. You can split it up however you want throughout your work week, or you can have it like front loaded, back loaded, so on and so forth." And found out that this is where individuals, like some people, are like, "Hey, I like having my workload all together."
See, the problem is, I think, is with loans, because the way the bank works is they lend you a certain amount of money and have you pay it back just as, and like literally as much as you possibly can, so that you're not having a loan for a million years, So that's why you got your 30-year house loans and your
But it's still long enough that you'll die and somebody else
Right.
can fall upon it.
and so all these loans that we've got, because we're always borrowing money, we're constantly having to pay money back, and it's always set in a place because they basically judge paychecks based off of minimum wage and annual salaries and stuff, and that's how much money you're going to be having to spend as well. It's a supply and demand thing. I think that's one of the problems with like a capitalism and the ability to like fluctuate prices based on supply and demand, is that there will always be people who are just barely making it because everything's going to cost as much money as they have.
Yeah,
And
Money is a construct.
don't get me started.
I think we should barter.
I would
100%.
much rather go back to the old
Every other
barbarian
country around the world
days.
damn near does it.
I'd love to barter.
I could most definitely make a living.
I would
just
have so
swinging
many
ass.
things
so
right now.
If we're bartering, like, what's an F-150 worth in barter? Like
Oh.
40 cows?
Maybe.
You can barter in other things other than objects. You can barter in time. You can barter in land. You can barter in a marriage.
Out your enemy for you.
There you go. That too.
Yeah, I mean,
this just sounds like the
different
makings
things.
of being an adventurer.
let's go play some.
I wish that was.
I
I
have
wish
some
that was a
plans.
real job. But, you know,
Next on the
though.
Foxhole, we play D&D.
Hey, that's a trip.
Oh yeah, I love D&D.
We play D&D in real life.
I haven't played it in
Our
a while.
county is the board.
That's just called LARPing, my man.
I've become mayor
I'm
because
sure
I killed everyone on the way there.
I know for a fact we know what LARPing is because that's been our entire career.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
told
our
you.
main career.
No, I'll
Sand
tell you about
tables is
LARPing.
D&D, the field is LARPing.
It was
Especially airborne.
It
That's
was
the biggest LARP.
2018
Yeah.
in the middle of SUT
World War II.
with a 100-pound ruck on my back, and Sergeant Royal looked over to me. He was like, "AG," I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "You know we out here fucking LARPing, right?" And I said, I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, we out here LARPing." I was like,
Think about it. What's in your magazine right now?
"We
Real
are."
rounds?
I was
Nah.
like, "We are."
Bang,
Are
bang,
there
bang,
real
bang, bang.
enemies
And
out
then ever
there?
since then, I just couldn't take a field problem
Dude,
serious.
us saying,
Are we talking? Are we using our names on the radio? We're using nicknames. Cool. I'm Spectre 2. Tell me that's not a LARP. Do you need to be called Spectre?
Man, us out there going bang bang is the exact same as lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning
Right?
bolt.
Or
That's why I played
you're
video
sitting there
games.
yelling, Saw.
240.
Hey, coach, get them. They're all dead over there.
Man, the time we were fucking
Bang, 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 bang.
We-
What rate of fire is that?
we,
It's not. It's my voice.
my favorite experience is like taking out some scouts and we were going up with we had actual blanks so we could
Yeah.
like really bang bang, and then I hear in the distance RPG.
Shit.
What the fuck? This is real?
It's
They don't have this.
It's like rock, paper, meteor.
Hey, Sorn, don't come to
500
the
pound
LARP
bomb
tomorrow.
on that building.
Hey,
Yeah,
sorry,
we'll call
don't come to LARP tomorrow.
Thanks, Ben.
Why is it so quiet and dark in the corner? Oh, he thought this was real Dungeons and Dragons. You're gonna cast a spell tomorrow. Don't come in. It's called Glock 40.
What do y'all think about the individuals who just stormed the Capitol in D.C.?
Oh man, I don't think I really want to get into that.
I don't.
I don't know enough. I
Yeah.
watched a little bit on it, but I don't know enough
Me neither.
to be able to like have like an objective opinion besides just kind of like word of mouth and the very few snippets that I've seen.
I get it.
I still had stuff to say about
Honestly,
the
I
personality
don't give a
test.
fuck.
We just kind of
Yeah,
away
let's
from
go
that.
back
I
to
was
that.
like,
We're
sure.
getting completely
If you got
sidetracked.
something
I don't give a
say
fuck who you voted for, what your beliefs are. Period. If you condone the violence of innocent individuals,
on either side.
exactly, that's what I'm
On
saying.
either side, yeah,
That's
for
what I'm
real.
saying.
Insider
Yeah.
job.
And I know
Doesn't
you're
matter
saying
who
that.
does it.
I get it 100%.
It's
Like,
round. How
if-
do you
if
know
you
which
go
side's
out-
which?
Right.
Insider.
If you go out and fucking buildings are burnt, properties destroyed, or people are assaulted, it is no longer a fucking protest. It does
I
not
don't
matter. I don't care who you voted for.
I get
Period.
that you know, in our political system, obviously we have to put people in power that we want to make the decisions for our future. However, I feel like people don't realize how good life is right now
Oh, yeah.
and
Weird.
Half
how
these
much
people,
we
if
have.
they went over to like Afghanistan or something like it, they'd shit themselves and beg to come back over here.
It's just life is
they
so
don't-
good. I don't see why everyone's freaking out.
So I asked my buddy Richard this yesterday. This is completely off topic from personalities now. We're doing the drifting thing.
We'll get back.
I said, I was like,
we'll get back. After
where
I
do
get
you
done with
think?
this.
Where do you think was the point in a new politician's career where his moral compass was compromised? Because genuinely, you think most people come in there with the intent to do something correct and make a change.
It's
I
most
was
definitely
like,
at the state level.
but when do you think their moral compass was compromised? He was like, at some point, because he was like, okay, you have to know we know there's like dirty deals going on and
A
people
big
get
thing too
blackmailed.
isn't even the bad stuff. Like people see that the wrong decisions are being made, and they can easily line it up to make it seem like there's all these like bad motives. But it's really just the influence that they have doesn't really show them what they need to be shown. So like the people around them, like they're literally just unaware of certain situations. They think that what they're doing is right.
Yeah.
It's just not, because they don't go out and actually see what's
So,
going on,
it's-
or
in
they
a sense,
listen to the people around them.
Well, I mean,
also-
that's what makes the most dangerous warrior is one that believes whether they're right or wrong is one that believes that their cause is just.
Yeah.
Period. That's what makes the humans dangerous. Period. If they think something is fucking right,
And I used to think about
it
that
doesn't
too all
matter
the time.
what is in their way.
And I think a lot of it too, and I'd like to get back to personalities because I don't like doing politics too much on here. But anywho, I think
Yeah,
I think a lot of the politicians who go into that, they don't
Okay.
go
I don't
into
think we were
one.
necessarily touching on politics. I think we were more or less like how.
Yeah.
Well,
Think
so
about that.
So-
So, and I guess this does play into personality a bit, but I think the personalities who go into politics
Your phone died
are
on me.
people who want to go into politics as a profession.
No, okay.
They go, and I see this from people that like I went to high school with. You know, they come from the wealthier families,
Yeah.
maybe not rich, but the better off of the town or so on. And then they go to school, get a political science degree or a criminal justice degree. It's one of those two. And then they go into politics, seeing it as a profession and not a way to actually better the government. They're
It's just a way to make money.
if you
Yeah.
could, I know you don't want to talk about politics, but we're about to. If you could choose any political system, what would you choose? For a country of our size, I think that honestly, like, along with personalities, countries are different, nations are different,
Oh, yeah.
states are different, and there needs to be different types of governing based on those types of people.
yeah, you
but
can-
for the United States, what would your dream political system be?
Oh, I have.
I couldn't
I
answer
have
that
no
question.
fucking idea.
I've got an
a,
idea.
I know you
a,
do.
a dictatorship.
This
but-
wasn't even a question.
So-
This was a lead.
So I think about this a lot.
He like a
And
segue.
I have two perfect places in mind for me. What I would like the best. Either A, I'm the dictator of America,
Okay,
or B, absolute anarchy.
disgusting.
I
I'm
mean,
in
absolute anarchy.
That would
that's
turn
not
into
even really-
tribalism.
Yeah,
because
it's
there's
not even a country
so,
at that point.
because there's 300 million people, absolute anarchy. Like, there's going to be, because there's personality types that are more authoritative, they're going to end up taking leadership roles on the people who
Yeah.
are more
Walking
sheep-like
Dead?
or follower
Fuck it.
type.
Fuck it, let them. Either I'm in charge or no one is.
But I would like it to just
Case in point.
that would be hilarious if
So
we
he'd
just,
be in charge of his own group. So
Yeah.
that's what we're finding out.
if we just
Anarchy, I'm still in
canceled
charge.
the whole political system, economy, everything, and they're just like, free for all. I'd like to see what happened. But
I mean, it wouldn't
I have
last very
I have a
long.
pretty good idea. of what
Cancel
happened at the
culture. We're
beginning.
canceling the United States government.
and the country, well, the land will still exist with the people.
I know
but,
one thing: all the cancel culture,
I hate
like
the
all
cancel
those,
culture.
they would not make.
just
it.
think about it though, because everybody, to a certain extent, like,
There's benefits to it, I think.
isn't that powerful. Like, individuals aren't that powerful. It's when they can garner enough followers.
Oh yeah.
So, if we just collectively,
World War II
as a
shit.
globe, decide, all right, boys, it's reset time. Wherever the borders are, get rid of them. Wherever the leaders are, no. Everybody's reset. Go ahead, go.
It's going to be at least like 100 to 200 years of just
Oonga boonga.
yeah, pretty much.
No, I've got followers. See, I'm secretly garnering my own followers
Oh my
because
God.
when
I
this all
forgot.
comes crumbling down,
Fucking
I'm starting my own nation.
King Carden.
King Carden.
Fair enough.
I just love the idea of
So
family names, lordships, knighthoods,
so we spent
lands, and
Very
titles.
true. I like
probably
that, yeah.
3 tower guard shifts, which was a cumulative like 18 hours discussing the rapture and how we're gonna each develop our own perfect utopias in different parts of the country.
Different
Like-
parts of the world. There's a country
Or
I'm not going
different part of the world,
to say because this is online and I don't want them coming after me. But there is a country that I'm coming after.
Hey, we already discussed this.
Yes.
What was it, like a 13-man team? We could probably effectively just take it over.
I'm not releasing too much information while the mic is on. But
Is it anywhere between a 5 to 100-man team?
yes.
Yeah.
but yeah, we had like 18 hours worth of discussions of our political systems and everything we're gonna have in place and shit.
I don't know why I'm not the ruler of the world. I know everything.
So there's that arrogance that we were discussing in the personality.
Good on you, Commander.
So,
You, Commander.
Yes.
so these are, and that's what I think is interesting about these personality types is that, or at least the quizzes, because they're fairly accurate for the most part. Like, you know,
I'm a huge introvert.
we've taken these tests and we agree with it mostly. And like when I was taking it,
I'm terrified to see what I get now.
I was thinking because it feels like a fucking BuzzFeed test, and I don't feel like that there's, because it's the way it's set up is it's like strongly disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree. I don't feel there's enough options and the questions feel kind of weird.
That's 5 options, man.
I feel like it covers
Well, actually,
it covers
it's more
a
than-
decent.
it's more than that because you can also be neutral on here.
Because I picked neutral.
That's what
Yeah.
I picked.
It's
as well.
literally like strongly disagree.
And
strongly
it's fair
agree,
because I'm like,
neutral, and then like 2 spaces in between.
Well, it's a good
Oh,
Neutral
yeah,
each
the slightly
one,
agree, yeah. or
because
disagree.
I'm like, because I can confidently say when I'm like I'm neutral on something, or if I'm like, yep, that's my personality right there. I'm like, I strongly agree on that.
Because
no.
like when I was taking it, I felt like I had clicked on a link on Facebook to find out which Disney villain I am.
Well, the Myers-Briggs test has actually been gone through a huge process with a lot of psychologists and stuff, and pretty accurate.
It did turn out to be pretty accurate, which surprised me, and that's kind of where I was going.
Because it seems like in astrology, fucking, I'm Capricornio.
Everyone's wrong.
Whatever the fuck those things are.
Everyone's wrong. Your signs are not what they are because it's the 13th sign.
What?
Yep. So yeah, I'm no longer an Aries anymore because there's another fucking sign.
Who comes up with this?
Don't they have like?
It's because Nibiru was coming into our solar system, so therefore there is another star.
Anyway,
Okay,
like the half signs or whatever. Because like, I'm technically a Gemini because my birthday's June 16th, but my mom.
Congratulations.
Yes. My mom is a Cancer or something like that.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, appreciate it. But then my little sister and everybody else, and the mother of my youngest son, she goes out and she's like, "You're not a Gemini. You're a Gemini Cancer cusp." I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've heard of that. And
Like,
then
what the fuck does that?
There's
mean?
also
I've never
like
heard that.
I see it in
It's like you have like traits from both.
Yeah.
Well, I know if your
because I'm like
day
I'm like
falls
a
on
Leo
their like
Cancer
the first day or the last day of one of those signs, you're kind of both of those.
Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
think
Something like that.
it's a little bogus.
Right. It sounds like some real.
And
crazy-
And if you look at who started astrology, why it was put in place, you can see, because the creator of astrology actually said that he would come out with basically the explanations would be as vague as possible, so everyone can be like, oh yeah, that fits me, that fits me.
Exactly.
It was just a popularity piece to try and
It's
get
supposed
viewers.
to be super vague. That and if you've ever seen The
Wow, it's
Waterboy,
not vague. It's very specific.
I don't know if you've ever seen The Waterboy with Adam Sandler, but there's the part where like
Who hasn't seen that?
you'd be surprised. I know a man whose last name is Boucher. And he hasn't seen it.
That un-American fuck.
I know.
You're like, oh, Boucher. And you'd be like, what?
Yeah, we all call him Bobby, and he's like, everybody calls me Bobby, but I really don't know why. And I'm like, you stupid fuck.
You sit down now and you watch.
But
It's
there's
like if I hadn't seen Iron Man.
there's a Jarvis.
Jarvis from Iron Man? What's that?
People name their kids that?
Who's Blake Lively? There's a part where he's sitting down with like Vicky Valancourt, and he's like reading the astrology part of the newspaper, and he's like, I'm a Virgo, so I'm feeling such and such today, and she's like, that's all a bunch of bullshit. It's made to be vague so it can apply to anybody. And 10-year-old me's like, damn.
Wait, what?
This makes so much sense.
It's funny, like, some of the stuff you retain as a child, like, that basically turns you into who you are, like, just like little things.
So I
what?
didn't realize something I learned
Huh?
recently too is how much more in depth like all that astrology shit goes. Because I always thought like Leo, Virgo, Sagittarius, bada bing, bada boom. But turns out I see in people's fucking Twitter bios or whatever, and they're like Sagittarius, half moon, rising sun sign.
Because they so
I only
And I'm
talk
like,
to
what does that
Capricorns.
mean?
so they start doing like what sign you are.
If my son's
where you
not a
burn-
unicorn,
where you
I'll
burn-
kill him.
Born under like the high moon or the moon, the sun or the moon. Like
You're not a
daytime or
Cumberbatch.
nighttime.
We can't date.
You oddly know a lot about this.
I do. I've done my research because I was really into that stuff, and I still am because I got a telescope for Christmas.
Wait, what's that got to do with anything?
I don't know. I just
You're
wanna
looking at the
segue in
stars and being like, oh, there's Orion.
Mhm.
That means that Sagittariuses are going to kill
Mhm.
themselves.
I'm like, the hue off the moon right now looks really immaculate. I think Mars and Jupiter have been aligned right now.
Oh wow.
Mars is
I have
in
my-
Gatorade or
I have my
something.
results.
All right, I'm going to guess. So for the first one, it's either, introverted or extroverted? I'm going to guess extroverted.
Yep.
You are, how would you know?
The next one is intuitive or
Intuitive.
observative?
Observative.
I'm going to say observative.
Fuck. Okay.
All right. And then the next one is, thinking or feeling?
Yeah.
Feeling?
Thinking.
Thinking.
Thinking. Yeah.
Give
How'd
a cop.
you miss that? All right.
What's the last one?
There's two more.
Judging or prospecting, right?
Yeah.
Judging.
Prospecting.
I'm judging you right now.
Exactly,
Oh, he got
see?
it. He got it. My black twin's nailing it so far. Let's see if you get this one. If y'all don't get this one,
Assertive.
You're assertive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like.
But see, a lot of
Yeah.
I think a lot of your personality too is based off the fact like police force and military and your upbringing a little bit. So like a lot of those are very easy for me because of your background.
Yeah.
So your
So what's that
personality
come
is
out
very.
to? What's it called?
Executive.
Executive.
Oh.
ESTJ-A.
That means you should be running your own motherfucking
So
building.
it's literally 63%.
You can email it to yourself too. Make
Oh,
sure you email
okay.
it to yourself.
Here, there you go. Y'all just share
Alright.
that.
Dead Space. Uh-oh.
All right. So we were looking at the results. I wanted to get into some crazier stuff. Just shooting for some random topics.
I don't know. Usually, whenever you say something crazy, like you want to get into some crazy stuff, it's usually us just like shirtless wrestling on the floor.
Hot.
You probably just got to redo it again. when
I
you're done.
I honestly think that violence is between men makes sense. Talk about ADHD a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And how technically it's been on the rise, and that just so happens that more and more people have it, and they say like 12% or 11% of young boys have ADHD
Do
now.
more and more people
It's not
have
ADHD,
it.
But
it's just people not wanting to put in the effort. It's so much easier to slap something like an illness onto something and put medication on it than it is to actually put forth.
So,
And it's more
I have-
profitable.
And it's way more profitable. That's what I'm saying. That's
I
where the
got one for
medication
you.
comes in.
This is a great topic.
The,
Companies.
Yeah, like if you look at the CDC's website on ADHD and you look at the symptoms and stuff, and it's like
It's like every boy growing. It's like
It's
every
literally
kid
like
growing
Every
up,
every
too.
kid.
Oh, they- yeah.
Every kid.
It's one-
hyperactive or doesn't like to sit still or doesn't or make quick decisions. It's like literally just like explaining a young boy. And I think that the reason that you would see that more often is because I think with the advance in technology and just lifestyle in general, our culture is becoming more and more indoors.
Sedentary.
These kids aren't able to get out their energy where they should be doing it. We're humans, we shouldn't be sitting inside all day, but we do. And I think that's why
We're
you'll
just not
see like
engineered
boys
for
who
that, yeah.
haven't grown into the culture yet, been engineered into thinking a certain way. They're like, no, I still think how I should think. And everybody else is like, no, that's not the norm. And then so they just put some drugs in them and make them think it.
All right, so-
I do definitely think that like ADHD is a legit thing, but I like you're saying, I think it's easy to misdiagnose something
Yeah.
like that.
So I was watching a YouTube video probably a couple years ago, and this female like researcher who specifically was researching ADHD, she specifically said he was like ADHD will specifically target towards male boys growing up. That was a given because he was like when you talking about personality traits from them, hyperactive, they do this, they that, they go overboard. So they said this was implemented more so during school because when you take how school is structured and the way they're teaching methods, he was like male boys are very active. They want to get out and move. He was like, so when you start doing curriculums, they start doing more Shakespearean work. That's not entertaining to a young boy at that age. To a developing female whose mind's getting more developed at a younger age, that appeals to her. He was like, so you have the scenario of, hey, you're going to tell this little boy to read Shakespeare works. He doesn't care about that stuff. We innately like adventure and action. We're not getting that same fulfillment from...
Biologically, we're hunters.
Yeah, so we're not getting that same fulfillment from that type of literature. Also, the female is the most optimal like standard of learning like in an environment because they're calm, collected, they pay attention, they're focused on what you have to say when you're doing it versus a little boy who isn't like that. And that's where the ADHD kind of came in because we're like, we need your personality to act more like that when we're teaching you.
It
and
just
not
goes
more like
into
we're
the
doing.
like what's
an
led into
accredited
that
source? 'Cause
women
I'm
and
curious
boys.
to look more into that.
It could be.
And see if there's anything that refutes it as well.
It's one of the big things why I
It's a
hate
while,
the,
like,
the
I would have
push
to
for
look.
equality between women and men. Like, it's already between men and women and women, people are different. And the fact that everybody's trying to say, like, there's no difference between man and woman
Oh,
is
it's
just, like, it's
bullshit.
retarded.
I think
Uh,
I think the whole equality thing, and this is just me saying some shit, is that it's more about having the same opportunities.
So, that's what
not
it
everybody
should
wants to
be.
use the
But
same
that's the
opportunities.
thing, is the people who are
it's not,
pushing
it's not
for
they
it,
have to, but they should have the option to be able
Yes,
to have
I
these
agree.
they
Just like-
have that option. They really do. We already have the equality of opportunity right now. There,
It's a
Show me
it's
where
a-
there is an
it's a-
equality of
it's a-
opportunity.
It's a system, but socially, it's not as accepted. And you still have like a lot of men who have the old boys club mentality.
Yeah,
when
which I
a
think
That's a lot of
when
older. That's a lot of
Those are
older
old age.
generations. and
Exactly. So
everything, too.
when a female tries coming into a job that
It's
She's
also
male dominant
culture too.
that, yeah. So
a lot of it has to do with culture.
A female tries coming into a job that's male dominated, but she's qualified and good at it. She's still gonna have a hard time because all of those people.
Right. She can do a couple moves and get her way up there.
Oh, well, that was a comment that well, anywho,
Continue.
she's gonna have a hard time because there's either gonna be the old boys club or the guys who are there were raised by the old boys club dudes, so they're gonna give
gonna have
her
it
the
filmed.
shit. And like I see that in my job because we're all infantry. We get the females in, and
I disagree with that being an old boys club. I think that because
More or
men
less
and
the
women are different,
circumstance.
I don't think women are meant to be combat soldiers.
so here's
even a little bit.
here's my thing is
Maybe one or two in the world.
here's my thing.
Every single one.
It's
was
like-
Look at
we got-
what is it? The first female Green Beret.
Not for long.
Yeah, she might be coming to Fury. Like what?
They would put her there.
So like so my thing is that like everyone
She
should
gonna be
have
bitter like me.
the
Oh,
same
yeah.
opportunities. And in our job, if a female wants to join the infantry,
Yeah.
she should have the opportunity. I think they stopped allowing it again though.
What,
Did
female?
No, but the thing is too,
I mean,
especially
they
with
were
like
definitely looking at
Stopping it, but my point
they were thinking
is
about stopping it in the Marine Corps, I believe, because they actually did field tests between all male infantry units and diverse
and in
infantry
mixed
units.
groups
And the all male units just completely.
it was like 80%
destroyed them.
increase in every aspect that
Yeah.
the
So-
males had over the mixed groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But
at
my-
the end of the day, even if she can perform, you can't tell her.
It's because
But-
biologically men and women have physical differences
Okay.
and men are more
my point though,
strength driven.
is that the people that can be in the infantry, I have seen, like, and this was brought up to me and kind of changed my perspective, was a female that works with us,
Mhm.
is there was an individual who was like a man of the platoon and never faced any adversity or people trying to shit on him because he was a guy, but he was not physically capable, really.
Right.
Was
and
it
then-
because he was a guy? Because
And then
there were plenty of guys who did face that, or
But-
was it because he was able to
Just skate by.
become a favorite based on his personality,
So that's not
weasel
not,
his way
not,
up?
not even. He wasn't even the most well-liked guy.
So he was.
And what she said to me was, if he can be in the infantry with no problem, and I outperform him, which he did, then why can't I? And that kind of changed my
Well,
perspective. Like,
she said that
infantry?
being in
Yeah.
the infantry,
Well, then,
so
yeah,
that's
she said
kind of
that being in
dumb.
the infantry.
Ex-
She's in there.
But what I'm saying is like
She made it.
she
She-
faced a lot of adversity and people being shitty to her because she was a female in that job. And it's the same thing in like a fucking.
I mean, I don't see how she could be upset with that because they just allowed females to start being in the infantry anyway. So just like any other job, any other exploration, you're a pathfinder in that.
If I
Like,
went
you're
into
gonna-
a job,
you're gonna face
No,
adversity.
in the Army's terminology, this is the pilot program, and you're
Right.
part of the pilot
if
program.
I went into a job that was dominated by women throughout history,
We would-
and I was
we
one of
would
the
get
first
shit
men
too,
there,
yeah.
I would not be surprised when there was some sort of dialogue and action towards me that was different than everyone else,
Look at
because
male
I'm
nurses.
foreign to
Male
them.
I was
nurses
just about
get
to say
shit
that.
constantly.
Oh,
yeah,
I was about to say
exactly.
that.
Which is
Constantly,
shitty.
because they're males in a female-dominated
and
career.
there shouldn't be that issue.
Exactly, but
And
it's gonna happen.
That's the thing too, is
So
everybody
should
is
we
saying what there should and
should-
shouldn't
should
be,
we,
Right.
and
as
that's-
if people aren't. There are so many different individuals who have their own goals, their own lifestyles, their own parenting. Like, people aren't the same, and they're not meant to be the same.
But I
And
don't-
when you force so many people to try and think the same way, it's not going to work, no matter
Yeah.
how hard you push it. And you shouldn't always just change rules because it should be like this. Because
It's like oil
you
and
get
water.
into a place where there's just no freedom anymore, so everything
I
can be
don't
how
know.
it's supposed to be.
I don't think it should be like male nurses or like female infantrymen. You know,
I think we could
We-
solve all these issues if the country wasn't as big. If it was just instead of
Well,
the
it's-
whole
it-
country being
it's-
every
it's
state being its
social.
own country.
Here we go, card and population control.
No. Not less people, just different governance based on each group, rather than having a federal government over
Isn't
300
the
million
is,
people.
isn't it kinda
That's a lot
like
of
you-
people.
you can't let this. I'm going to use this word, and people are going to take it out of context, but it is an oppression.
What's an
It's-
oppression?
It's not a massive oppression.
Here's the
That's the thing.
first one to take it out.
It is like male nurses,
Mhm.
female infantrymen, female car salesmen. Dude, when I was a car salesman, like there were a couple females that worked there before I got there that got fucking run out of the dealership because everyone was being so shitty to them.
I don't
But
know,
that's
I
the
know-
thing,
I know
though.
Some female car salesmen that
make
But
fucking
they
money,
make
dude.
bank.
Exactly. And
You allow
I don't know.
it's basically like bullying mentality, and it's like it's a psychological thing because when people
the
can
bully
have
culture.
power over someone else, they feed on that
So-
and they don't stop, and
Yeah.
it's just being
The
able to
majority of
manage
America
to
is just
stop
softer
that.
than baby
what,
shit.
what I've been trying to
Honestly.
say though, what I've been trying to say is that fucking in those jobs, the people who are coming in, like the male or female, like it shouldn't be accepted them getting shit on so much just because that's what you expect. I think that's
Yeah.
bullshit. I think that's fucking bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I personally think if like, I have no problem with a female being infantry. I'm like, there's certain things.
As long as
Like
you can
again, there's certain
perform,
things
I
that
don't
as
know.
long
males
as
can
you
do
can
better than
perform,
females.
as
Females
if
can
you're a
do-
male nurse.
It's
was
the
like,
thing
but-
is that you're going into a culture that does not normally have you there. So
Yes.
rather than tell that culture
You
they
can't-
need
you
a
can't
change,
walk in and
you have to
expect
try
everything
and
to be
figure out how to
fucking
work within that
rainbows
culture.
and
Yes.
unicorns.
So
Yeah.
rather than sit and say, this isn't how it should be, instead, prove them wrong by doing what they don't think is possible. That's what I think.
At the
Yeah.
same
And
time,
then you get people like you who have seen that they can perform,
Yeah.
and that will defend them, and that will stick
yeah,
up for
and
them.
at the
You know what
same
I'm
time,
saying?
everyone should be
Time thing.
Wait,
at the same time, everyone should be a fucking professional.
The
is
Beco
my, is my
captain?
big opinion.
That's a lot
Beco
to ask
captain.
The
for.
female captain.
the
I was
Ranger?
asking
Yes.
for that
Yeah,
for
I
a
can't
while.
remember her name, but she
What's her
was-
name?
she was a-
What was the
she
captain
We
name?
bad.
shouldn't say her name on here, but I know
well,
who
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
but yeah.
about.
She was a bad motherfucker.
She was bad. Yeah, she
The-
was badass.
no,
And
Captain Haver. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
news stories that she had the first Ranger tab. It was,
Yeah.
although she definitely performed,
Yeah.
was used for a publicity stunt because,
most
or
of
else why would it not? Why would it be on every single major news story? You know,
because
like,
it's a big
obviously-
deal.
If
It's
you
the
put-
one of the
if you
first
put
female Rangers.
female
That's a
Ranger in
pretty big
Google,
fucking
she's a
deal.
first
right?
person about
But
it.
there
a
are
pretty big
other
fucking deal.
big deals that aren't put on the news.
Well,
You know what I mean? If it doesn't fit the narrative,
'Cause so-
it's not going to be put on the news,
Okay,
even if it's a big deal.
I agree with
my
you in
fucking-
that. sense.
okay, so you think that it's blasted all over the news, but it's blasted on the news that we're used to seeing because it's relevant to us. We're used to seeing military news, and it pops us out to us a little more. It's probably on shit like fucking Stars and Stripe, Army Times.
It was
fucking military
zero surprise to me,
No,
though.
no, bro,
That's
that's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying. Like, you can pull your phone out right now and put female and Ranger in the same.
And I guarantee it's gonna be
and
a
she
Stars and
pops
Stripe
up.
article.
She,
It's just
she
like
is the one that pops up.
so my it's like the first female Marine 0311.
Yeah.
Like my buddy who's 0311 fucking could rattle her name off super fast because it's a big deal for them.
Yeah.
Just like how the first female ranger is a big deal for us, you know.
I think it's the same thing too. It's. I don't get why it's got a big. If you are so capable of doing it, why is it a big deal that you're the first? Right? I mean, I get first, but like,
Yeah.
how many
It
men
is a
did it
big
before
deal.
you did it? Millions,
Well, see,
millions
it's-
of men did it before you.
See, before I lose what I'm thinking, been hitting the head a lot and all that good shit. So take that aspect, right? So if you can perform and you're the first, why is it a big deal, right? People want equality and to be treated the same, but only if they're special. You
Right.
know
So
what I'm
that's
saying?
that's what I was
and-
saying
and-
is that it's either a big deal because women are technically inferior to men, and I would say that, and it is actually a big deal biologically.
hot take, hot take.
100%.
Like, go.
Biologically, 100%. Whenever you take a group of 1,000 women and 1,000 men, the men will outperform the women physically every single time. They've done tests, hundreds and hundreds of them. Men, scientifically, are more physically fit on a natural level, born and raised, both age 30, like zero physical fitness training. The DNA in men, because of their chromosomes, because they're more testosterone in men, are going to have more muscle strength. That's the men and women in the same weight class. Whenever they put in physical combat sports against each other, the men still win because strength per pound is higher in men than women. Women can sometimes outperform very strong men because that's how
Women
biology
actually
works.
have
Is sometimes
pretty
things
stout
don't,
legs.
always fit
Yeah,
within the
they have-
narrative.
They have a very strong
They are.
lower
They're,
body.
and that's the
naturally.
thing. So
Yeah.
the best way I saw it was like a triangle, and men
Yeah.
are built like a triangle with
Up
the
top.
top point facing downward,
Yep.
because all of our strength is in the shoulders and our
And
arms, upper
biologically,
bodies.
women are reinforced
Yeah,
from the waist
and women
down.
are like a triangle
are.
with the base, so they have the
bud.
stronger hips and legs, and they're built like that. They're
Yeah.
built with a wider
But
wider set of
that
hips.
being said,
Uh,
all the women that are getting like medically discharged out of basic and shit like that.
For hip and back issues.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because women are also designed biologically to carry weight on the front and not on their back.
And an issue with that too is, and that's just our gear. The gear has been
Yeah.
designed for men. The body types are different, and so they've been working on like rucks and kits built for a woman's body to help improve.
What are you going to
And
do? Start
also,
front loading them?
Part of the thing is too is even if we were physically exactly the same, mentally we're different. Like if you look at like the type of personalities women
how we
generally have,
communicate and
communication is
everything.
going to be
Yeah.
different.
There are
And
different
so,
hormone levels and shit like that.
So
Yeah.
they've actually seen in some northeastern European countries, they have like some special ops units solely comprised of women that outperform the mixed groups as well. Because they're able to communicate more effectively and understand each other. Whereas those
And
mixed
they-
groups, it's just those
I feel
different
like-
personality types
There's
conflict.
there-
And I
yeah,
feel
there's
like
so
in-
much
yeah,
conflict because
that's
you were
what I'm
like,
saying, is
you're-
the confliction.
I feel like in the infantry now, it's like when you have females integrated in there, you like even if you feel like you can still talk the same, in the back of your mind, you're like, let me check what I'm saying before I say it, just a little bit, because you're like, you never know what's going to come off.
That's a big
inappropriate.
culture thing too,
Yeah.
as well, because what's socially acceptable, and it's just whenever you're in the same like mixed gender, there's less acceptable for y'all to communicate to each other. Whereas like the boys or the girls together, they can say more.
Unless you
And-
unless you have like a real like interpersonal relationship with that individual,
Yeah.
it would only be
Yeah, but
between
then
you and
even-
that
And
one
then- and then-
individual.
and then there's
even
the-
it's real interpersonal.
the-
but it would only be
the-
between
you're
you
still
two.
gonna be judged too by
Yeah.
their surrounding.
The
individual.
taboo also is like a lot of individuals worry about getting sharped, which is
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like on
judged by
deployment,
other
like
individuals.
fucking females, so they have their own rooms. Like, all right, they want to be one of us. Like,
I think a big thing too is we started as all males, most
Yeah.
of us, and so the sharp briefings
Yeah.
went from being directly designed for males
Yeah.
to being switched to male female. So when females came, we had been told a million times, because females weren't working with us, like basically stay away from women, don't touch
bro,
women.
those things were the worst.
don't
man.
give
Like,
them your
because
tea.
I remember reading the thing. He was
Yeah.
like,
And then they're
You
like,
can't
they're going to
force
work
them
with
to
you.
drink
They're the
tea.
same as you.
he was like,
You just told me to stay away from them, and if I touch them, I go to jail. And now you're saying they're the
So-
same. They're going to change in front of you. Like,
So
I don't know what to do.
That was one thing that I did respect
Well,
about.
they can change in front of you, but you can't change in front of them.
That was that.
Oh,
So that was something
look at
that
that.
I did.
It
I
is
did
true.
kind of respect about our boss when we were overseas and we got that female is like, because people wanted them in a different room. He was like, no, she's on our fucking squad. She's our squad mate. She's gonna be rooming with
Right.
the rest of the squad.
yeah,
Like, hey, we're getting hit. Let me run down the fucking hall real quick
And go get her
wake
in her
up,
own
too, you know what
room.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
No, fuck
exactly.
that.
No, like,
The,
and I like that.
If
So
you want to
some-
be in the same, if you want me to give you the same respect as everybody else, if you want to do the same fucking job as me, you're going to be sleeping the same fucking hole line.
yeah.
because I'm not going to walk 10 miles to find you to tell you to go
So-
on
I'm not going to do it
bars.
for this motherfucker over here. I'm not going to do it for you.
Yes. Something I want to say before I forget it, and it goes back to like why being the first of something is a big deal, is because
Right.
it shows other people of that demographic that it is attainable for
the
them.
thing is when they say first, it's not the first. It's the first of that specific, like,
Women have
generality,
been fighting
right?
for centuries.
Like
First black
whenever
man
they
to
say
space.
like in a
In other
political
countries
piece,
and
like
stuff, too.
it'll be like this is the first Asian American to serve as Senate Majority
it's
Leader.
only special in
It's like-
America.
This is the first
Like,
African American
outside of-
woman to be the governor of Utah. It's like,
That was like-
but there's been 4 other.
It's because
in
America's
other
glorified.
states-
Like, people become
They
millionaires
want
off of
want to
fucking
hear
TikTok.
diversity
you know what I'm
and
saying?
equality.
Diversity is something that is been pushed and pushed and pushed. So when
Right.
it happens in the way that people like to hear it, they're like, everybody needs to hear about this. That's my only problem. Is not that it's not impressive, but that it feels like it's just shoved down my throat sometimes.
You feel like
And
it's a little backhanded.
And it's fine until when I see like people who are deserving of credit that don't get it because they don't fit whatever specific narrative. It's like
yeah, a certain
this
agenda,
white male
yeah.
did, he was the first to climb Mount Everest 37 times or whatever. But
Yeah,
this African American woman climbed it for the first time,
yeah.
and they're like, that will outshine it 100%. And it's not because it's not impressive, but it's just that
Right.
is like,
I fucking
Right.
hate it.
I do agree. I do agree with you. There is that like media sensationalism
so
to
much.
it. There is.
I hate.
Vegan tries to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
Especially how you're saying it. Like you hate the concept of like
It-
skin color and shit
it
like that
shouldn't
being-
be a defining feature.
Right.
Skin color should never be a
I
defining
mean,
feature.
look at my kids.
Um,
My kids are They're mixed.
the difference between people, and this is just my
Oh,
opinion, isn't based on race, rather, because there is differences. I wouldn't say it's based on race. I'd say it's more based on culture. And because most cultures are specific races, like if you think of a Chinese
here's
group
what
of
I have
people,
a
they're all
problem
going to be
with, too.
Chinese for the most part.
Why is it race? We're all one fucking race. We're all humans.
For the,
It's different ethnicities. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
That's what fucking kills me. Like the whole gender thing, the whole race thing, whatever. We're all fucking humans.
The
We
thing-
just have different ethnicities.
and in the United States, all these different ethnicities are in the same culture, growing up the
Right.
same. So that's even more of a reason not to even like.
But
Why
they're-
is it that
but
they're
they're
different?
taught all this shit.
So and something that's really pissed me
Conditioning.
off about like the color hate
Indoctrination.
too,
Right.
is that like we're all human. Color is just based on how fucking close you are to the sun. Like if you go closer to the equator,
Where your
people are
ancestors
gonna be
were.
darker.
Yeah, where your
You
ancestors-
guys
Like-
lived under in the ground.
Say again.
You guys lived underground.
You guys lived underground.
We lived in the snow. Okay, my ancestors lived in the snow,
I don't know,
away
I'm
from
telling
the
you,
sun.
There's some dark Samoans out there that live in the snow. Some Eskimos.
We lived inside.
Well, the thing is, the Eskimos in Alaska like migrated over from Asia. So they started out Asian. Because there was like the fucking.
So if you go,
It was like the Bering Strait.
What I don't get is
went
I have
dry
a
for
theory
little
why people
while.
aren't indigenous to Earth, but
So what,
Yeah,
white people?
there's
White
a
people aren't
pretty cool
indigenous to Earth.
theory that humans aren't indigenous to Earth.
All we are we're just the fucking Galapagos
stars.
is
birds,
that,
dude.
is that
We've
aliens,
changed. We've
aliens
evolved.
like 30,000 years
Darwinism.
ago brought their technology to Earth, and with the fall of the different major empires, because they brought all that alien
The Galactic
technology over,
Federation.
which is us. You know, the pyramids and stuff, that's just coming from the other planet we're originally from, and we're just like the leftover spawn from all those fallen empires.
No, the
It's
alien,
the
the
leftover-
alien
yeah, the
movie
fallen
told
leftovers
me.
are
just
Mars.
fucked all the remaining monkeys everywhere and just made.
No, they were like these Homo sapiens.
We're half monkey, half alien.
Hey, don't call me a homo.
Oh, whoa.
No,
But
so-
where are we going? We can,
But like the whole color thing and like the different body types and shit, like per ethnicity, it's fucking the people who are closer to the sun at the equator and shit.
That's
they're
wishy-washy,
darker.
because
You can literally look at it like
south of
on
the
a map.
equator, like if you go to Argentina, they're not darker than people in Ecuador, although that's such a large separation.
So a lot of that, I mean, a lot of it's based off like migration and like people who live in like
So
those
them- so
those,
that-
I don't know,
those
based on-
countries
based
came
probably had
from-
a strong. It probably had a strong footprint. Your theory did
Yeah.
like hundreds of thousands.
and
of years
that's
ago.
why there's
this
that,
is all headcanon
Yeah.
like,
for me.
obviously like, this is
There's
like
already been
OG
so much
shit.
traveling and conquering and
Right,
raping and
exactly,
pillaging,
and
like, it
that's
doesn't
and that's
even
why
fucking
like
matter
Brazil
anymore.
speaks Portuguese.
We're all related to Genghis
This
Khan.
is all headcanon for me, but based on my headcanon, based on evolution and how they talk about things, I'm like, I don't know. This is like albinism traits. People get darker
Yeah.
based on their environments.
Yeah,
But this is all headcanon to me.
It's literally it's like those fucking what were they, like finches or something on the Galapagos Islands, and like
Yeah.
each different bird per island like evolved in a certain way
Oh,
to
yeah, I
fit
know what you're
that,
talking about. Yeah,
their
yeah.
environment, and like that's what the humans did.
I didn't.
Per your ancestors did, you stupid fuck.
Cards
Not
said
my
I was
ancestors.
fucking born perfect.
I was created in a lab.
Your eyes
Skinny
blue?
little fuck.
They are very blue. But no, I'd say skin color is about as different as eye color.
So
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't discriminate
Totally
based off of
random.
ie color.
Yeah,
I
hate
think all the blue-eyed people should live in Tennessee, and all the brown-eyed people should live in Arkansas.
I sit here on a daily basis as a black
I
man
don't
in
want to live in
America.
Tennessee. This is bullshit.
I sit here
Hey,
every day on a
hey,
daily
watch
basis
it.
as a black man in America thinking to myself, like, are we really hating people because of the color of their skin?
Right.
Like, that's the dumbest shit. Like, that's the
Still,
dumbest shit
you
in the
say
world.
that. You say that. Yet
That is so
people
dumb to
on
me.
the other aspect
understand
of it,
that.
people love each other because of their skin.
Yeah.
Think about
Yes.
the amount of praise
No,
there
okay,
is
so-
because of people's
Good
skin
point.
color.
So when
We
I was
talking about
learning
fetishes?
Portuguese, and
That's a good point.
and people
I mean,
were like,
I
"Oh,
like
you're
black
black."
women.
They were
I
like,
always tell
"Your skin
people,
is
like, there's a
beautiful."
reason
I've
all my
never
kids are
heard that in
black,
my
so I
life.
don't know
I've
what
never
to
had
tell
anybody
you.
say that to me, and it takes it in a different perspective for like people in Brazil because dark skin is part of their culture. Because this is my ignorance, and I didn't know better to it, and I didn't understand it. And it was like, "Yeah, we have." He was like, "There's light skin, there's dark skin." But they do look at everyone as like, okay, he was like, black is beautiful, even though I'm not your complexion. They still say those things, and I've never heard that
Well, and there's-
like anywhere else
So,
before.
and there's even like that color racism from from like people of other ethnicities. Like I was reading recently about like in India, and they, you know, they're darker complected, and they view like fairness and paleness as beauty.
Yeah.
So like if
That's- but that's like-
their fucking makeup ads for women
fuck is that?
show a woman
Did you
like
spit on me?
it'll show like a
I
woman
spit on
who
it.
is naturally
Swallow it.
darker complected, and then after she uses the makeup, suddenly she's a fucking white lady.
Yeah.
This is my
Oh, yeah,
thing.
the bleaching
is
shit and all
is
that.
Yeah.
so we have so many different countries in the world, so many different nations led by people who have
fair
different
skin.
ways of garnering their followers, right? And especially when it comes to wars, right? Back then, say you have to get millions of people to generally hate another group of millions of people. And especially back then, it was even more segregated in country and nations based off of ethnicity.
How
So,
far is back
It
then?
wasn't just
Plantation
segregated by
owners made black
countries and
people
nations.
hate each other by
Just
saying having the
local-
dark
like
skin.
geographically,
Yeah.
that too, but like you have to like basically for people who want to be in power, land is everything, and being able to take over more. And geographically, certain areas are going to be dominated by another type of ethnicity. The easiest way, which isn't probably what happened most of the time, but could have sometimes, is
Excuse me.
hey, instead of like, because I can't think of any other reason to get them to hate them, let's just say our ethnicity is dominant over theirs. That easiest way to make them hate them. Literally no other difference, but now they've garnered the
I still hate it. I think it's dumb.
the,
what I-
the
what I-
passion
that's
of their
what I mean.
people.
I still think
That's
it's
where
the
that-
dumbest reason that people would hate someone is. I'm like hate them for a real reason.
You're-
Like hate me for a real
Yeah.
reason.
You're right.
I rather
Like,
I
they're a
rather
woman.
you-
Hate him because he's
and
a
it's
pedophile.
it's on the fucking flip,
Yeah, like-
it's on like the flip side too.
Which I
Is
do.
people like people fetishize skin color. Like
Yeah.
I know so many white dudes who will
Look,
like gawk over
chill.
a girl just because she's Asian.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, I know you and I both enjoy.
Yeah.
We have our preferences.
Oh, I've got trophies.
That sounds so bad.
Right?
That sounds so
That
bad.
sound bad,
It
but
does.
yeah, that's the running joke. But yeah, no, I mean, I like all women. I just
You have a
prefer-
preference, and
I
I
have a
don't even
preference,
think
yeah.
that's a bad thing. Like having preferences.
Having
like the same thing.
preferences
It's
is
like
fine.
like people's like, oh my god, that's like someone saying like, you don't like me because I'm a trans woman. Like
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
you're not my preference. And, like,
I mean,
of course I don't
you're-
like you. You're not what I look for.
I like
Not-
people-
it's not
I mean,
against
honestly,
you.
You're
Not
not,
to-
you're not
yeah.
a woman.
It's not against you.
Well, hot
No.
take.
It's not. It's nothing
Whatever.
against.
I mean,
No.
people can hate me.
They're
if they
not a
want to.
woman.
Politically correct.
Biologically,
no.
politically correct. Sure. Biologically,
Yeah.
no. You're fucking not.
What politics are we talking? Because I'm talking Polish politics, and
Yeah.
politically correct in Poland is yes, trans people are not whatever they're pretending to be.
It's their
Hey,
Oh,
trans
goodness.
is a sexuality.
my
It's not a
theory, which
fucking
I'm
gender.
sure
so
people
that's
are
the
going to
thing.
hate.
I'm
Is
not
they,
gonna
they've
get into this
they've,
one.
they've separated it. There's,
Now.
now,
Now
and that's
they
and that's
have,
the
yeah.
thing.
That's because common sense has gone out of the fucking window.
I'm not.
Yes,
I'm
it
not,
has.
I'm not trying to hate on it because
I don't hate
it
on
doesn't
anybody.
fucking hurt me.
I don't care.
No,
I
I'm
have,
but
a,
there's
like-
I have a
offend me.
cousin that
There
literally
is-
does. He's a fucking.
I hate
Yeah.
the
But there's like sex,
glorification
sexuality,
of
gender
it.
identity,
Right.
all that
Yes.
shit.
the glorification
I
of it.
feel
I
like it
hate
is- I think
because
it's a little
these
cramped down
people,
my
these
throat.
are real people who I believe in my head actually just need some help because they are probably just a little confused.
You heard it here,
They
folks.
believe certain things.
Jarvis supports gay conversion camps.
I'm not talking gay. I'm talking trans. People who think that they need to change their body so that they feel okay. They need to physically mutilate themselves just to feel okay instead of just being
but-
okay with who they
see,
are.
I
I
mean,
mean,
let's
then
just
again,
step
you
back.
can- you
What
can
if
look
I-
at
what if
women
you-
like
what
that,
if you
too,
look at it
though.
this
A lot
way?
of women change their fucking.
What if you say?
and
What if you look
men.
at it more
exactly.
as
So
body
what's
modification?
So I
what's the
wouldn't go
difference?
there.
Yeah, what's the
But-
difference between
okay,
turning your
so-
dick inside out and getting fake tits?
There is some difference, but I disagree with both of them. Some of more than the others, because if you look at people who've gotten fake tits, their suicide rate didn't increase 80%. If you look at people who got inside-out dicks, their suicide rate did increase by 87%. You have to think about that, right?
What the fuck do you just look up before you even just?
Jarvis, this is-
and that's the thing too. Is
No, I
is-
know,
is
but like,
yeah.
please just be
depression.
Where do you
Depression
find
is
time for this shit,
right?
depression is more
It's like
common.
he goes and lays in bed, download.
Just plugs his fucking. Just
And
sticks
you
himself
do
in
make
the
you
air.
do make a point.
Instead of
It's
spending, I
depression-
don't have social media, so instead of spending 8 hours on Facebook, I spend 8 hours on YouTube. And
That's-
either
I
I
just-
learn a lot of
I bought
stuff,
YouTube
sometimes
Premium,
false,
like,
but
a month or two ago, and I've
YouTube
just been
Premium.
watching
God, you
YouTube.
bougie little fuck.
You bougie.
What
as
up,
hell?
dog? It's
Well,
like
just-
$14.
Just
a
wait
month.
5 seconds and
That's a
skip
lot.
the ad.
Look, I use my boys' Netflix. I pay for Hulu. That way I don't have to pay for Netflix. I pay for YouTube. So there you
Oh
go.
my god.
And then I also cut out Spotify because
What?
because I just use the YouTube.
There you
I
go.
have YouTube Premium, so YouTube Music comes with it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
More bang
hey,
for
YouTube,
your buck.
if you want to sponsor whatever.
We're using your platform.
Yeah.
We're paying you at the
Yeah.
same time, bringing in views.
The thing is, though, is YouTube is not going to pay us because one of us said that trans people are sick.
Well, actually,
Ooh.
they will if it
better
becomes
you better
socially
apologize.
acceptable. YouTube
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
care about what's right and what's wrong. YouTube cares about whether or not they lose viewers.
Yeah.
So if everybody
It's a
is like
business.
gets on board and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we hate people that are less than 5'3", all of them, and YouTube's like, well, we don't think that's right, but we need the views because money's everything.
Right.
People who take advice from big corporations need to get out of here because if you think that they're not in it for money, you're wrong.
So how long before you think the U.S. or even globally, because I'm sure this is already happening in other countries, but where like the corporations don't even hide that they are in charge, and it's like Blade Runner, where it's literally
It's
like
starting to get to that point now.
the corporations,
What are you
and
talking about?
and that's what I'm saying.
It's already
And
like that.
So that's why I phrased it, and they're not hiding it, because right now there's lobbyism. There's people who are lobbying and throwing all this money at politicians to get them to vote or act a certain
Yeah,
way.
they'll
We
be
used
the
to, back
nation
in-
of McDonald's
back in the 70s
soon,
and 80s
like
and 60s,
the sovereign land
we
of
used to go to
Facebook.
prison
Have you seen
for life
Idiocracy?
for that type of shit.
Yeah.
And
I
now it's
haven't.
just like,
Yeah.
Ooh.
So,
Good
so
movie?
and like
Yeah.
and this
it's
has
literally
been
America's just softer than baby shit now.
Have you
'Cause we
guys
have
seen
all
the
this proof about all this shit, but nobody wants to do anything about it because
well, it's
there's
because
no real.
so
there's
the reason is because all of the shit that we have is against the elite, and the
Right.
elite are the people who really
No,
enforce it.
the
People have gotten
reason is
comfortable.
because the corporations have created a very comfortable lifestyle for
Yes.
everyone, and even though people disagree with it, change is hard enough on its own.
Bro, this shit woke as fuck.
If we're already really comfortable,
people train
we're not
bots.
going to go out and radically do something because we kind of like our lives, whether or not we
Yeah.
agree with what's happening to
Yeah.
us. We're
Right.
like, oh, but I do like this
and I think that's
chai
why,
tea latte 6 pumps vanilla every morning.
that's why we don't see a lot of political changes, because people are content.
They are.
It's-
Which
we have a-
it's,
we
it's
live-
no.
and that's
It's
the
not
thing.
like we just hit a fucking.
Everything is a
hit the
trend
jackpot
now.
just People have
Nobody,
known this shit for
nobody cares about
generations.
an issue until it directly affects them. And I saw this very recently. And
Nobody
there
cares
was
about an issue until
What
it
was it?
shows
there
up on
was
their
like
Facebook
there was like a
feed.
female
Right.
senator.
Yeah,
There was a
that's
female
it.
senator who was very against. I can't remember the name, but she was like super
But
against
chill out
like
for you to
paid
suck.
maternity leave or
Zuck the
things
cuck.
along those lines.
Drinks water like a
Until
duck.
She had a kid, and as soon as she had a kid, she was like, paid maternity leave needs to be a thing. So a lot of these people who are in charge, like, or even just the general mass, they don't care about anything. All they care about is their comfortable life until something affects them, and then they start to be like, oh my god, everyone's been going through this for years. This is such bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
so
why.
there's actually scientific names for that, like how you drive down a fucking road 100 times in a year, and then you like randomly look to your left and see a giant fucking oak tree that you never noticed beforehand, and you swore it's never been there, but it's
Yeah.
been there longer than
I
you've
do
been
that
alive.
all the time.
Right.
Tunnel vision.
It's actually
I do that all
there's
the
actually blah, blah, blah. There's actually a scientific
Words.
term for that, words, But
The science.
before I lose my train of thought, because I do that, ADHD, all that good shit, hitting the head.
'cause we're
whatever.
You're
men.
segueing
Whatever
right
you
now.
call it.
Continue.
Yeah.
Go.
So back to what y'all were just
He's
saying.
segueing about segueing.
Segue.
Stop distracting him. Go.
Yeah, I don't know how true this is, but I read it actually just like 2-3 weeks ago. It was about Stalin. So whenever it comes to governing being a dictator and governing the ignorant or whatnot,
Yeah.
he so supposedly during one of the meetings with his headmen or whatnot, he had a chicken brought in and he ripped out all the feathers of the chicken, right? So he just performed this massive amount of abuse to this animal, right? And then he puts it down and he has some feed brought to him too. So he takes feed from his hand and puts it down, and at first the chicken doesn't come to it, but he throws more down right in front of him, and the chicken comes to him, and like nothing ever happened. And then the chicken starts following him around and everything. So he looked to his men and said, "This is like this, or something to the effect of, this is how you govern ignorance, or how you govern the people. All you have to do is give them a little treat every now and then."
$600 stimulus check.
And don't forget.
But then-
Actually, I think that's what I read it about. Yeah. It was like Instagram or some shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how true it is, but it makes fucking sense.
It would make sense. And
So,
and
it doesn't
people
matter what
like
you do to
Stalin
them,
and
just
Hitler,
if you give them a treat every now and
although
then.
horrible
Yeah.
people, garnered extreme followership because they convinced their nations to do complete atrocities, and the general person isn't just gonna do that without someone who has
Like we said
extreme
earlier,
psychological power over them.
Like we said earlier, it's if people believe in what they're doing, they become completely.
Yeah, be careful what you're
become
passionate
dangerous.
about.
Yeah.
It's, a little research goes a long way. So I think, and your own research, and a lot of
Research of
the problem
viable
with social
sources.
media is research now is just what your friends and family are saying, and how many times you see it. If you see it more than once, or it's the popular topic, that's your research, and everybody's like, yeah, I'm passionate about that.
It's in precedent.
And it's like no, do your own research. Actually look at some peer-reviewed journals or something.
Yeah.
Like go find accurate information. Or this is my favorite type of
Read the shit
research.
that's blacklisted because there's
is
probably a reason
well,
you
yeah.
shouldn't read it.
But then if big corporations are telling you stop, don't look at that.
You probably need to fucking
Maybe look at it. But no, my favorite type of research is actually just going outside and looking around you, because it's so easy for people to get caught up on the world is coming down to an end. But if you just go outside and it's like,
Maybe
no,
humanity,
actually,
not the world.
Actually,
The world will be
things
just
are
fine
pretty
without
good.
us.
Stop getting worked up.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that's
Mr.
the thing.
Kool-Aid Man.
Person to person, everything's fine, and I think it's interesting to see that as I see white people who are friends with black people, and they're totally cool, but then they go online and they're just like, fucking dude, I hate Black Lives Matter and I
Get
hate
the
black
fuck out.
people and all
That's
that shit.
That was like I had a buddy.
And I
buddy
see that
of
with one
mine.
of my very close friends.
Really?
And it's
Name
like,
drop them right now.
No, I've started to
Pussy.
and I've started distance a little bit, because it's it's so double.
So wait. So they'll be friends face up, right?
Friends face up and then go online
up,
and
fucking
share
face to
and
face.
and then share shit
And what
about
you'd
how
rather
black people have
happen
lower IQ and
Is
stuff like
while
that.
he's
Really?
around those black people,
You know
is
how many-
just
you know how many
ridicule them.
inventions that we have in
So that
America
way, Greg
from black people?
can take them and throw them in a locker.
Like how many
Whoa,
times
whoa, whoa.
the white man has taken, just taking the inventions, taking the credit
Yeah,
of black individuals in American history, and it's not just American history.
It's all
honestly.
over, yeah.
Right?
fucking wild.
Fucking wild.
Or
This all started with personality.
new trend.
tests.
New trend.
dude.
I'm going to start a new trend, and we should push popularity on this one. I guess that's what a trend is. But let's. I know we like to praise certain races and certain people for doing things when they're the first of that race. How about let's just pretend we're all just people here.
See, that happened in the 60s.
Stop
with a lot
defining
of
everyone
drugs
as
and shit.
race.
So you know how everything comes back around. I see that.
Hello,
coming
my
back
fellow
around
human.
another,
Oh, hello, Greg, other human male.
I see exactly that, the robotic talk and shit. That'll be around in another 15, 20
Hey man,
years.
hey, they've already told us we're gonna do so much crossbreeding that all America's gonna be light skinned.
Oh,
I'm kind of
Brother, I'm
split
already
though
getting a head
because I
start
think
on
that
them.
there are.
Dude, my kids are gonna be mixed too. So
I'm split on the whole let's ignore
Actually, don't.
race.
Give me a few years, okay?
Because I think that you should actually be proud of your heritage and your
Yeah.
race, things like that. And you
I am
shouldn't
proud
ignore
to be
race.
Belizean.
I just think that the problem whenever we
what?
only
I'm
focus
so
on
proud
race.
to be Austrian of heritage, but really I'm American. So
Yeah, that's crazy though. When you think about it though, it is crazy because it's how we're brought up. We always talk about
where our ancestors came
yeah,
from.
but never I'm proud to be American. I'm black. This is where I grew up. This is where I'm born.
Yeah.
This is all
See,
my culture was
I got
developed
into
here.
an argument with the mother of my two oldest children, and her mother backed me up. Actually, she's like, "I'm African American." I was like, "No, the fuck, you're not. You're not
You're
African
American.
You're American. You're a black American." She's
Why
like,
keep-
"No, I'm African. You've never fucking been to Africa."
my Portuguese
South
teacher
African-
said that.
Got him.
A white man in South Africa that was born in South Africa, if he migrates to America, that makes him an African American.
I've read stories about that, about a
Yes.
South African white guy, and he on the ethnicity or something, he
Yes.
clicked African American. They were like,
You're not
"Are you
African
sure?"
American.
And he's like,
I mean-
"I'm from fucking South Africa."
Yeah.
Yes.
I was born and raised there.
Y'all are familiar with Rhodesia?
Yeah.
Not particularly.
So the big thing there was, it's reverse what the issue is in America. where white people were kind of the minority, and basically there was white people who were garnering like positions of power, and the people weren't okay with that.
Oh, no,
yeah. Because the one of the presidents of Rhodesia was a white person, and so they kind of like overthrew him and like tried to imprison him because he made like some decisions, but only because he was white. It's big war happened. The white people were oppressed there, and the black people in other parts. So basically, it was like white people were taking power and oppressing black people were taking power. But it was funny because some of the
find a reason to fight and hate each other no matter what. Like white on white. Look at fucking Ireland and fucking England.
Yeah.
What is the IRA? Weren't they fucking fighting? What was it all? I'm not too familiar with, the IRA and everything.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on.
Weren't they constantly bombing, like British and English that were inside or in Ireland
most of everything that happens, like all these big things where tons of people attack tons of other people,
Family Feud.
Stems from like families, people of power, like these small group of individuals who want to take power over another small group of individuals, and so you just see this like trickle down of like cause-effectual relationships that cause these huge
if you go back
events.
far enough, the Family Feud and political power is pretty much the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
less known now.
We'll go to war with another country because one leader beefs with another leader.
Yep.
Or
it's old
not even that. It's one leader
generals
doesn't like that the other leader has.
Did you discuss my J's? This. Hey, America, go. That's basically what it is. You scuff my J's.
You crease my Air Force.
Right?
I fight over that.
Not even that too. It's like they just want more money.
On my night.
More money, more land.
Yo, you fuck my Timbs up. I'm gonna show you what a Timberland boot.
The almighty dollar.
They want another pair of J's. Yeah. They already have 13 pairs of J's, and they're like, but I really need 16, and they've got 3 pairs. So let's just pretend like we'll do a false flag on them. We're gonna attack ourselves. Say it was them. Then my whole country will stand behind me to fight them, and I'll get those J's. Hashtag 9/11.
I can't say anything. If I see a gun that I like, whatever.
On false flag operations, I believe
going to take it down because I said the word.
QAnon is already trying to say that the people who stormed the Capitol was actually Antifa under a false flag operation.
Well, I could believe some of that because they have video evidence of Antifa doing some really
so on this one I don't believe it, but there have been multiple instances of Antifa doing stuff like that. A lot of these riots, like the BLM protests, turn into riots.
I don't understand how somebody had a rebel flag in the Capitol like it was okay.
Yeah, right. No,
don't get me wrong. Like,
it's because all these people are getting radicalized under the same idea, but coming from different places.
Right.
And like something that's open-minded.
The rebel flag
is it's
like
a fucking country that fought America.
Right. Taking down all the Confederate shit and everything. Like, it's never bothered me because I did grow up in the South, so I grew up around it. You know what I'm saying? Like, where I'm from, black people fly the rebel flag too. Which is fucking weird.
It's just like lost in translation type of stuff.
Right.
Because it was the U.S. versus the Confederacy.
It is a country that lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
it's
we're
it's like
glorifying
taking the fucking Nazi flag and taking it to the Capitol building.
Yeah,
it's like a Jew flying the Nazi flag. He's like, I'm pretty sure this is me.
Yeah, it doesn't make
I was involved.
No. Bring that up too because there's cultures in Brazil that fly the Confederate flag.
Really?
Yes, you can look it up, and they're saying because it's part of their like culture. Like,
and the thing is that it was
symbols.
The Confederacy used it because it was a rebel flag,
when it was
they were rebelling against the federal United States, and they seceded, became their own nation, and then there was the Civil War. But the thing is, and what changes it and makes it not the rebel flag, is they adopted the rebel flag as the Confederate flag. It's the same thing with fucking Hitler taking the swastika from Taoism or Hinduism and then making it into the Nazi flag. So it's not like people still use it religiously, but that specific fucking flag is not.
It's interesting. It's interesting how
just like how
people use a certain like word, symbol, color, like just tiny things that don't mean anything, but they use them behind something that is bad.
So all that connects to what you were talking about earlier, how
indoctrination.
How you have these strong personality types that will take over everything because it's just naturally who they are. They need symbols. They need stuff for people to rally behind.
What do you think?
That's where all this shit comes into.
What do you
comes
think
into play.
Hitler's personality type was?
Fucking insane. Hey, don't point at me.
Executive.
You know what's funny is
Commander.
is asking.
Commander, there you go.
What's-
That little fucker right there.
Interesting how you're blonde haired and blue eyed.
The difference is I'm way better. I
we
have
go.
killed 0 people.
So
I think.
what's funny about us going into Hitler as naturally as we did is after
spread a few
Jarvis
rounds
sent to our
before.
Jarvis sent to our group chat like the personality test, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna talk about this," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I see that drying out kind of fast. What should we talk about as like a secondary or tertiary stuff?"
Nah,
he just said, "Well, Hitler, I guess."
It's because I strongly believe in understanding history. Everyone should study it. The mistakes and the problems and
Yeah,
where. So
sounds like something a history major.
Well, I mean,
would
right,
it's actually-
but the
it's
thing
actually
is
really-
is the same types of things will happen over and over again.
Right. If
and
you know
you can
your past, you know your future.
the more you learn
Yeah,
about
for
the
sure.
history of the world, because so many things have happened. If you look put into like
The only thing that changes
a little
is
ball of
technology.
like everything that
People
can
stay the
possibly
same.
happen, a lot of it has happened in some way, shape, or form. And so the more you know about history, the more you can put yourself in a better place for the future.
it's readable experience.
Yeah. The big things that we are taught in the
The
U.S.,
Big
which is
Bang.
interesting, is like Hitler, Nazis, all that. We are taught to hate that one individual, but you never really learn about all the other individuals who played a part in that. Like
Yeah, they don't
Henry
really-
Ford,
the victors
the guy who
always
came out,
rewrite history.
the guy
that's
who
another problem with
right.
history.
So
It's
you know
always
I want to hear what you have to say about Ford.
History written by
about
victors.
Ford.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the late 1800s, there was a book written that led to the indoctrination of anti-Semitism. It was a Russian Orthodox, turned into like a Russian cult, basically.
Right.
They created a book talking about how Jews are going to take over the world, and that was this late 1890. And this book led to the indoctrination of a few individuals in the group that eventually indoctrinated Hitler. This book, written by these Russian cultists. And that's where he got the idea that Jewish people were going to try and take over the world
Where'd you read
through
this?
money. Where did I read this?
Yeah, where'd you find this
Oh,
information?
over like 30 different sources.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I can.
Not that I don't believe you. I'm just like I also went to fucking.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean,
I'll show
it's
you.
gonna-
So it's
Everything
interesting.
stems from
So
something.
this book basically influenced a lot of Nazi soldiers, Nazi supporters that basically Jews are bad.
Was it only like 20 or 30% of Germany were actually Nazis? The rest of them were forced or something like that. What was the percentage of actual Nazis?
I don't know percentage on that, but
I
I
know it
do
wasn't
know
very
It was
that.
whatever took the government, man.
So this same book,
and I don't think he started like. So I mean, it was like a Nazi.
Sorry, I didn't
it was
mean
a
to-
it was
No
a Nazi
worries.
party, and you're right. I think they had like different political parties running for office, and then Hitler came. I mean, I haven't.
Oh,
studied
Hitler
this
won
since high school.
re-election probably like 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
before the Nazi Party became like a big
Yeah.
role, and he won by a landslide a lot of
He was
times.
a master manipulator.
He was a fantastic
he was
orator.
Yeah.
He could speak to crowds like phenomenally.
The people of Germany loved him until they saw why they shouldn't.
Until he revealed his
Yeah.
true self.
Was a little
no,
late,
after
yeah.
he revealed his
What?
true self, because he did still have the whole Nazi army behind him, and they were like, meh, don't see anything wrong.
I like how I did that
After-
with an accent.
After World War I ends, the UN, hey Germany, don't have a big army. Okay, Hitler be like, hey, I'm building the army.
I hate the UN and I despise everything they are.
The UN
anyway,
said, hey
the,
Hitler, stop building that army, and he
I
said,
gotta get into Henry
no.
Ford.
Back
So
to
the book
Mr.
that
Ford.
influenced Hitler to want to kill Jews, that very same book, Henry Ford sold 500,000 copies of that book to Americans, was a Nazi sympathizer, and basically supported the massacre of Jewish people. The
So
same
you're telling me
guy
I'm
that
gonna
made
have
that
to go out here and
Mustang
burn
you're
down my-
trying to get
Yeah,
laid
so now
on.
I have to
Ford.
sell my fucking car.
The
God
founder of
damn it.
Ford was a Nazi sympathizer.
So he wasn't just the founder of Ford; he was the founder of the fucking assembly line.
he
You have to get rid of everything in your home.
he loved Nazis.
So,
All right, let's burn this house down.
so everything that was built on an assembly line was
Anarchy,
created by a
anarchy.
Nazi sympathizer.
But you say that like, oh, we need to get rid of everything because.
I'm being.
But think about
ironic.
this:
I'm being-
Operation Paperclip. The U.S. government hired, I believe it was 3,700 Nazis after World War II.
Yeah, because
NASA.
They were
NASA, boy.
The head of NASA was a Nazi.
So really, it wasn't the U.S. that made it to the moon first. It
Even
was
worse,
Germany.
even worse, Japan had a group called the Water Purification and Pandemic Prevention Department.
You know, I don't even want to talk about
The,
how smart they are. They fucking
Imperial
scare me.
Japan had this water purification pandemic prevention department who conducted chemical experimentation on their own people and ended up killing 200,000 innocent people, very small group of people.
What is this, some V
They
for
killed
Vendetta
like
shit?
50,000 kids on chemical experimentation.
Damn.
That's crazy.
The United States pardoned all of them as long as
Because
all
the
the
US is a
information they
business.
found on these experimentation on how these chemicals react to humans, the U.S. wanted that information and then pardoned them for massacring 200,000 people.
Because the U.S. is a business. Like you said earlier, it's all about fucking money.
It is.
Kind of like
Money,
what I was
information,
saying.
and power.
People who go into politics as a profession and not as a passion. to
It's all
better
linked
things.
together. We
Yeah.
solved everything, boys. Congratulations.
That's why. Like
And that's why
Mr. Will
it's-
was saying.
That's why we should have an oligarchy.
Be
of
careful
us
what you get
four.
passionate about.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, USA, USA. Like yes, we live here and we should help better our nation, but supporting everything that the USA has stood for, like
Use your own thought process.
just see what we've done. See what we did in Vietnam. Did you know that we can alter the weather? And in Vietnam, there was we actually created rain using chemical bombs. We flooded
Iodine
like a
or
majority
iodine
of
or
the
something in
country.
the sky.
So they just forced constant rain. And then we can also prevent rain, and we did that in other parts of Vietnam.
So you're telling me that before a field event, Sergeant Major really do be hitting that rain button?
Yes,
Yes.
we have the ability to do
All
it.
right, boys.
I believe
Fayetteville's gonna be dry, but Fort Bragg is fucked. Get ready for this.
no, but the
Tsunami.
problem with the altered weather, where it's man-made rain and stuff, is that rain is dangerous because of the chemicals
Well, it's
they
acid
use.
rain, right?
Not technically. It's more like if you drink tap water,
So-
you know, it's not
Right.
it's got
So
like
I
some chemicals in it.
I haven't looked into this. Since
Also, wouldn't it
grade
draw
school.
moisture from other areas? So it would negate.
No, because what they do is they just alter the molecules
So
that are
there's
there.
already
Agitated
there's
area.
already clouds in the sky,
Yeah, yeah.
but they're not rain clouds. And I think what they do is they add like iodine to it. Is that what it is?
I don't know the chemical composition
it's
of the
been
rain bombs.
so fucking long. It's been so long since because it was like
He said I made
I was in
this.
grade school when I read about how they're trying to make rain clouds.
There's
Where the
a
fuck
there's a
did you
big
go to
conspiracy
grade
theory
school?
about there's a place I believe it's HAARP and it's in Alaska and it's just a bunch of antennas and they're shooting the stratosphere with radiation,
Yo, it's
literally
like,
poking a hole through the stratosphere
it's the
to see what
ozone
happens.
laser from Highlander 2.
It's like HARRP or HAARP.
one.
You should see
I
the
love
amount of
Highlander.
conspiracy theories behind that place because they're
Me
literally
too.
lasering our atmosphere just to see what happens.
that's
And they're like,
Damn.
yeah, that's probably where they're doing all kinds of stuff. The reviews on Google for that location are worth a read.
What?
Um,
You can't trust Google because I mean, a few of us have been to places on the map that really aren't even on fucking Google.
Man,
no,
I-
anything
so I fucking-
you can't trust.
I love Google.
Really
So
anything.
it cracks me up because I'll go to like, the rail yard on base to get some
Yeah.
training done, and then as I'm leaving, Google's like, "How did you like the rail yard? Leave a review." And I'm like, "Why?
That's another thing.
Why can
Like,
I review the
I
train
know it's not
station
just
on
fucking
base?"
me where you're talking about something, like buying something or whatnot, and your fucking phone just pops up with it.
So whenever
automatically.
your applications
Yeah,
are like
yeah.
allow access to your microphone, you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, why not? You say deny, and they're like, well, you can't use our app.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I guess I'll allow.
So, and it's funny that you say that
I
because
really need this Instagram.
I was on the
You should see Instagram's terms of service now. They just changed it.
So I was on the phone with my
They can
dad
read your
earlier.
message log now.
Are you fucking
Oh,
kidding me?
badass.
Serious.
That's badass.
So
Why couldn't you get
Facebook,
rid
because
of
Facebook
Instagram?
owns Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was on the phone with my dad earlier talking about how I was going to use my stimulus check to buy a kit to start like building like my own personal kit. And for non-military people, it's like a vest, body armor.
Actually, I got some badass shit. I'll show you.
But I said that, and then as I'm scrolling through Facebook, the first ad I see is like
You can turn all that
40% off. It's a vest with level 3 plates and shit. And I'm like,
So if you look at Facebook,
Interesting.
though, you can dive into your settings, and because of a lot of the lawsuits that have been happening, like if you've been paying attention to the news, like Mark Zuckerberg's always in a courtroom, like trying to like defend Facebook. Well, he's
Trying
had to
to
make
defend
some
his
changes to
humanity.
his company, and so
The
now
FBI
you
actually
actually
bought a lot of
can
information
see
off
the
of
stuff,
Zuckerberg,
the
didn't they?
information they're
I
utilizing.
don't know.
Nobody realizes like if you
surprised.
dive into your Facebook settings, you can see that Facebook has access to like every single application on your phone. Like Facebook now has to disclose
I don't
all this
even
stuff.
have Facebook anymore.
I don't either. It's
and
I think it's a good thing to stay away from now.
I
can,
honestly don't
so you
want
can-
it,
there's
but
a-
it's such a good way to connect with like my older
Well,
family.
that's
You
the
can,
that's the
and
fucking
that's-
glam of
See,
it.
that's how they get you. You know,
Yeah.
And
you
the
have
thing
to
is, that's
decide
the
whether or
only
not
one.
it's worth it.
I have
Kinda
such
like
a
having
big
an iPhone.
family.
Everything's made for iPhone.
Security
Trying to
isn't
break
about
down the
security.
game.
It's about
I
profit.
got one as my second phone.
no, but you can turn off a lot of those settings in
You
your
can
actual
now,
phone
yeah.
settings.
you can do that
Because
too, yeah.
like, so I did that. I think I have it on my phone because when I was in the Q course, the 18 Echo course, and my teacher was like, "Hey, you would tell you where you were in the past fucking 24 hours?" And I was like, "Here you go." He was like,
There's a good browser I
Some man,
recommend
Google
using
sent me a
instead of
fucking
using
notification today.
Safari or Google Chrome on your phone.
I-
I would recommend DuckDuckGo. It's an app you can download. It's a browser, and it literally blocks everything. It'll tell you what it's blocking, and it'll tell you who's trying to see your information.
I'm downloading
It's
this
called
shit right now.
DuckDuckGo. I
And-
recommend it
And-
to everyone
and let me
listening
tell
as
you,
well.
"You gotta put that in the. You gotta put that in the link in the
so
bottom."
Chrome.
Oh yeah, DuckDuckGo. Come on, I need that money.
Chrome.
I'm advertising
and,
your product.
So Chrome and even Firefox like aren't as secure as I thought because like I had a couple of my accounts hacked recently.
Oh, especially not Chrome. You know Chrome is Google, right?
Yeah, no. So I can literally
You know who Google is.
if you leave your laptop open, I can open up your Chrome and I can see your password for every single website that you've gotten.
Think
into.
about the different
like it.
like not even just from like a monetization aspect because all these are pretty profitable, but like Google is a company. Like they have their own web browser, Google, they have their own phones now. They operate the Android system that makes up all phones basically that aren't iPhones.
They also on YouTube.
They own YouTube, the largest video platform. Like Google has quite a bit of information at their fingertips. So
They have everything.
but yeah, I would
if you haven't watched
recommend.
the documentary Social Dilemma, watch it.
Yeah, I need to watch that one.
100% watch it.
Social Dilemma.
Watch it. Yo,
Sponsor us.
We need money.
help me.
The views, because I've got the YouTube analytics, so I've been able to see like the views for the podcast and everything, and basically anytime we post it on something, which sucks because we have to use social media, which I have a vendetta against, but whenever
why
we
you
do
let us do
post
it.
it on
I
there,
mean,
like
But if you pay
it's
me,
such
though.
such good advertising. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like
Yeah.
everybody hates something until they've got something to gain from it, and
Right.
that's where everybody's like, gotta be careful because these people we're electing, like, they're just people, they've got their own desires, wants, needs, and things, and people can easily attack that. I couldn't be a politician. I'd be horrible. I'll take $1 million.
That's why I couldn't
All
be a-
I have to
that's why I
say,
couldn't be a Jedi, I'd be a
all I
Sith.
have to say is, hey, everybody, stay out of Rayford.
It's so much.
Rayford's a horrible place, and you're gonna give me $1 million. I hate Rayford now.
It's so much easier to be corrupt, and I think about this a
It goes
lot.
back to
This is
what-
something.
what point
This
was
is
the moral
something
compass
super
compromised?
silly, and what
Yep.
what we were saying
Exactly.
earlier about like the weird things you retain as a kid is
It's all about your fucking morals.
and I think this
You
is
watch
where
me scratch my nuts?
I think
You
this
want
is
that?
part of where like my love for movies and wanting to be a filmmaker came from. Is I used to like get sucked into the special features on DVDs, and I was looking through the special features on the
You're a
2000.
weird ass kid.
I was.
You're a weird fucking kid, bro.
Yeah,
You're
I was just
you're telling
trying to
me.
sit closer to the girl on the bus. That's it. That's
No.
all I tried to do.
Nope. I was watching
That
special
and spit
features.
gum at my teacher.
I was watching special features and telling people they were retarded because they didn't like Donnie Darko.
Yo, that's a film I haven't thought about in a long time.
I'm gonna watch
Thanks
it
for
again
bringing back-
tonight.
Thanks for bringing back fucking childhood memories.
So,
and nightmares.
Some of these movies
but
we
I
watched
was-
as kids.
I was watching the special features on like the 2004 Punisher, and there was like this interview with John Travolta saying this thing where he's like, "I love playing villains because it's so much easier because you just don't have any rules to follow." And I was like, kind of clicked as I got older. Like,
You had a lot of mind blown.
when you're a bad,
moments as a
I know,
child.
from watching the special
Such
features
an
on
Such
DVDs.
an intellectual as a child.
Well, that's what being a kid is getting your mind blown and learning from it. And I was like, and then like I think about it now, I was like, it's easier to be the bad guy.
Worst thing about joining the military was just like, as a kid, I always like idolized like soldiers and things like that, and it was just such a cool thing to look up to and like to play around, pretend like, and then you like join, you're like, these are the fucks I've been looking up to. Like, this place is horrible. What am I supposed to look up to now?
My life is a sham of just. It's just all a lie.
Fucking dead ass though. Shit's wild.
All right, so
The closing statements.
closing. We haven't even done the personality shit.
Yeah.
Let's get into personality to close it.
We've already done mine.
I feel like
Apparently-
we've covered it.
Yeah,
We
but we
covered
haven't like individually. Well,
We-
Commander.
These things segue all over the
The
place.
So
Yeah.
the purpose of our topics, this is
This really just
only to
sounds
get
like-
the conversations flowing.
Oh yeah.
And that's so
That's
we'll
the
come up with a
structure
topic
for
or
it.
two
Yeah.
just so we can start talking.
It's like every day in the cough, honestly. Especially like whenever me and you were still in the same platoon.
Good
yeah, we
times.
would just, yeah.
I,
Yeah, all three of us. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
final thoughts. I need to do more research on history because I was completely I
We need
wasn't
to do more
lost,
research
but
on fucking
yeah.
everything for carding.
and I think that's a
Gotta
good.
keep up with
That's
this
a
man.
good final
Fucking
thought. Is
robot.
stay educated and do your fucking research.
Stay
on
frosty,
anything you
snowman.
can.
It's hard for me sometimes because I don't like talking on things I'm not like fully knowledgeable about,
Right.
because
I'm
I
the
don't
same
think people should be like, hey, I'm going to convince you to think this way without it actually knowing everything, about
Right.
that.
I
And
think
like, so that's what makes it hard to
I don't have a
talk
problem
about some of these
discussing
topics
it.
is I don't feel confident talking about it
Right.
if I don't fully understand
Yeah.
it. So
But
the
I think
things I
we're
do
good.
say,
Don't worry, I'll
for
lead
the
you.
most part, I actually know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, I do let my
Fucking right.
biases get the best of me, and I'll just say something that I shouldn't say, and it's just whatever. But I research everything. That's what I do, because I've got no life.
I am very good at being like, I may not know all the facts, but this is what I
Right.
know.
See, that's where me and you are a lot of like we're really similar. Like we can talk about stuff that we don't know about.
I can hold a conversation by anything.
Right.
Great
right.
at nothing, good at everything.
Jack of all trades, baby.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that like the job of the infantryman?
Yeah.
Jack of all trades, master
Yep.
of none.
Exactly.
Yes.
The-
Until I heard that
I know-
last part.
I know a little bit about
I learned,
a lot,
I
but I
learned
don't
that
know
in
a
the
lot
Q
about
course too.
anything.
He was like master of none. I was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah. He was like Jack of all trades, master of none. I was like, I
But
didn't know
better
this.
than being a master of one.
I was like, I didn't. know this.
Anyway,
I think.
All right.
Never mind.
follow us on Twitter at Podcast Foxhole.
And Facebook.
Oh, we have a Twitter.
We have Facebook too.
Wait, what's the Facebook name?
Foxhole.
Foxhole.
Man, I've been fucking searching that shit. and
For all
can't
the
Well,
for
I
all the
got- I go- I
viewers
go
who are
re-verify.
just lurking, leave a like or a comment if what you
Yeah,
think.
like, please comment.
We have so little viewers. If you leave a comment, it will be read
It will
because
be
it'll
read.
probably be the only one.
And
It'll
ask
probably
questions.
Be,
And I
it'll
probably
be
will-
the discussion topic.
Yeah,
no,
honestly.
please, ask
yeah, you want to
questions.
get shouted out on the
And
next one because
if-
you've got
Hey,
no life.
hey, my boy Scooter.
Yeah, I've seen you on all the comments.
See you in all the
Respect.
comments. He hit me up a couple days ago saying,
If
when y'all gonna make another podcast, y'all get a couple views and don't put no more out. So this was for you.
Our Scooter?
Yeah, our Scooter.
You little shit. You don't answer nobody's Snapchats or nothing, but you over here on pot. All right, I got you.
If you disagree,
You got anything to say to him?
I'm going to let them know. It's
if
all
you
right.
disagree with
Yeah.
something that
Some
we
things I
said,
can't
please
say on
talk
here.
about that and just like let's have some jumping off points.
Oh, we
Yeah.
gotta thank our wives for coming out and supporting us too, and girlfriends.
Yeah, I gotta thank my girlfriend for not getting mad at me
Yeah.
for coming over tonight.
I'm here alone and divorced, so nobody. it doesn't
You're not
matter.
alone. You
You're not
have
alone.
the boys.
We're working on getting
I'm
on.
so massive. My hands are huge.
We're gonna work on getting on Spotify as well, so just more platforms and hopefully get out there.
Oh fuck! Now I guess I gotta get Spotify again.
No,
It's a good podcast. Thanks for coming over. I will shoot out the next topic in time.
I'm gonna bring like some.
Yeah, I have some ideas. So
I'm gonna
let's-
bring, like,
let's
Yeah,
just go
shoot-
through
shoot all ideas.
Anywho, I'm Blake.
This has been the Foxhole.
We got,
No,
we
you
got to do the
You gotta,
thing.
you gotta. This has been the Foxhole.
Oh yeah.
oh
No, we
man.
got to do the thing. So, I'm Blake.
And I'm Jarvis.
I'm Greg.
I am the Flood.
Thanks for listening, and come back next time.